Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I promised to review the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a Palette a few weeks ago when I got it and showed it on Instagram, but I wanted to give it a good go before I said anything about it, because I have a quite mixed relationship with Charlotte Tilbury products. I've liked a few of them, but most of them I've thought were very, very overrated, and a few of them I've actively disliked. So I thought a little bit before I got this palette, because it's quite expensive. It was £49. But I'm a real sucker for palettes that are supposed to contain everything you want for a complete face. It's such a clever marketing tool because we all fall for it, even though we know full well that it's absolutely impossible to have everything you need unless you wear very, very little makeup indeed, in which case you're probably not interested in palettes at all. It's pretty much impossible to have everything you need in a palette, and of course, you know, this palette's no exception. There are plainly other products that you would need. But where Charlotte Tilbury is very strong, I think, is the marketing. So it's not just the concept. You know, there's some really good videos on her website of her using the palette on, you know, fairly normal read older women and creating a nice look and showing you absolutely step by step what you have to do to make this palette work for you. So I watched that video. I'll try and find it and link it below, and yeah, I was sold, so I went and got the palette, and I have enjoyed and am enjoying using it. Would I recommend it? Probably not for most people. I'll explain why. But I don't really regret getting it, and I think I probably will continue using it, although there are some problems with it. So, as usual, it's nice packaging. I'm not as sold on the Charlotte Tilbury packaging as some people. It's sort of modern retro. I'm not that keen on the brown gold look, but it is well done, and the palette's quite substantial. That's the first thing. It's reasonably heavy, so if you're looking for a really lightweight palette to go in the handbag, this frankly is not it. And then obviously it has the basic face products, but it doesn't have, obviously, foundation, it doesn't have concealer, it doesn't have mascara or eye pencil, or obviously lipstick, all items that you're going to need for your complete face. So the idea that you are going to be able to do everything, let alone in 5 minutes from this one palette, is a misnomer. However, it is quite convenient to have some very basic neutral colours in one palette, and that's what this palette does. I'm struggling because to see the writing, you can see there what they're for is embossed quite deep in the product, because I have used this probably about half a dozen, 8 times, and they're still all very readable, as you can see, where there's a bit of powder flicking around. There's a really good sized mirror. I don't want to kind of flash back into that, but it's very usable. What do I think of the products? Well, the first thing is something that's mentioned in pretty much everyone who reviews this palette, is it is for very, very light-skinned women. Most of these items are simply not going to show up if you're anything other than very, very fair. So, for example, you have 3 eye products here. This product, which is meant to be a kind of all-over lid base to even out imperfections in the eye. It's showing up white there. It's the palest peach pink, but really not very pigmented, showing up slightly chalky there. On me, it does even out pigmentation, but it doesn't provide a good base, particularly for other shadows. In fact, although it's looking very, very pale on my hand, if you can see it, in fact, on the eye, it is slightly deeper than my actual skin colour, so it does give a little bit of colour. And then there's a very shimmery, very, very soft, glittery gold, which is very pretty. It gives a very nice pop of colour in the kind of mobile part of the eye, but I'm not sure you'd want to use it more over the whole eyelid or for anything else because it's very glittery. It's almost like a highlight powder rather than a shadow. And then that's called Enhance. The first one is called Brighten. And then Smoke. Again, very nice soft consistency. What I'd call a real cafe au lait. Very, very light. I mean, not the sort of colour most people would use for a smoky eye in any way. And what she shows that doing on the tutorial is, for the day look, she actually just uses it under the eye instead of a pencil, and literally on the rim of the eye, again, instead of a pencil. And I found whilst it gave quite a good effect under my eye line and didn't smudge, it didn't show at all on the upper rim of my eye, and I definitely needed a pencil to give some definition there. I did use it as a transition colour, whereas she just uses it for that in the evening and to smoke out a little bit. I didn't think it really gave, and I don't like extremely smoky eye, but I didn't think this gave a smoky eye. It just gave a bit of definition. So it was possible to create a very nice, neutral, work-appropriate eye with those three colours plus a pencil and mascara fairly quickly and easily. What I will say is now, straight away, although it applies to the face colours as well, the main drawback, I think, with this palette, especially for the money, is less the lightness than the fact that these do not last well, certainly on my skin. I need to touch up, major touch up, kind of 4 or 5 hours in. They do not do a full day. So that in terms of quality for the price is not terribly impressive. Having said that, I do take the palette along and I do touch up. But if you don't have time to do that, this palette isn't for you. And I do think it's a quality issue with products that cost this much, because I don't really have to touch up Chanel or Tom Ford blushes or eye makeup until a good kind of 6, 7, 8 hours in, sometimes longer, and these definitely required attention before that level. So going to the rest of the face palette, there are 2 blushes called a cheek style, cheek swipe, whatever that means. Again, very light peachy colour, slightly shimmery, and pink pop. Again, 2 you can see, really, really light, pretty colours, but you need quite a lot of them, even if you're a paley like me. And then a bronze and a highlight. People say that these are like the really stylish duo that came in the very pretty gold palette. I didn't like it. My bronzer in that was too kind of reddish for me, but it also just smashed. So the powder all crumbled away, and I threw the whole thing away. But I think this one is a much cooler bronzer. It's not really bronze enough to bronze, even if you're a fair girl like me, but it is suitable for contouring if you're very pale. And the highlight of it, a really, really pretty highlighter, not as iridescent as the one in the duo, or indeed some of the Guerlain highlighters, although it's most similar in consistency to those, and I really like Guerlain highlighters at their best. I think they are the best highlighters. A really pretty, it's gold, but kind of a mid-tone, not too yellowy gold, and it looks really, really subtle, really, really pretty on the cheeks. Very, very pretty highlighter. So I do like the palette. I do like the concept. But it's an absolute no-no unless you are very fair. These colours just won't show up on you. And I think even if you are fair and can get these colours to work for you, they don't last very well and definitely need touch-ups. And that's across the board. It isn't just the eye colours, which I can prolong by using a cream shadow underneath before I start, but the cheek colours as well fade very, very quickly on me. But that said, you know, you can take the palette along and if you can be bothered, can touch up a bit later. So those are my thoughts on the Charlotte Tilbury 5-minute face on the go instant look in a palette. Great marketing, nice concept, quite like the video, worth watching. You know, I'm sure you'll have similar products in your stash and you know, can kind of duplicate the look from other Charlotte Tilbury or, you know, other brand products that you've got. I'll try and look out the video and link it below. And if you're a fan of Charlotte Tilbury and you're fair, then you probably, you know, are going to like this palette and want to get it. But otherwise, to be honest, I think there are better things that you could spend your £49 on. So those are my thoughts, and I've got some other palettes to talk about soon. And until then, bye for now.